Okay, please proceed.
Okay, thank you, Return President, fellow Rotarians and guests.
Sorry, President. Sorry for interruption. My mic was mute. I'm fellowshipping with you.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so the profile of Gabriel King Akpalu. Gabriel King Akpalu is a corporate trainer, consultant, and a soft skills development expert. He consults extensively on business development, corporate leadership, work-life harmony, customer service, and staff development with clients in industries ranging from IT, hospitality, education, health, mining, oil and gas, and non-governmental organizations in Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Canada, India, China, USA, and the UK. He was a lead trainer for Enactors Ghana, an annual leadership training, Rotaract National Leadership Training, Valley View University Leadership Training, UPSA Professional Masterclass, Catholic University Entrepreneurship Program, and COC Youth Leadership Training, among others. He offers corporate training in organizational leadership, leadership development, corporate effectiveness, strategic human development, and executive coaching. He was the lead trainer for the career session of the London College of International Business Studies, Ghana, and also the guest speaker at the 8th District Training Assembly and Conference, DTAC of Rotaract District 9102 to participants from Ghana, Niger, Togo, and Benin. He is currently the president of the Coalition of NGOs on Drug Abuse and the International Director for Integrated Online Learning Program Institute in partnership with Leiden Education Consultancy in the UK and Bloom's Faith also in the UK. Rotarian President, fellow Rotarians and guests, our guest for tonight. Our guest speaker for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Pedro. We'll hand over to Mr. Gabi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening to everybody. I see it to be a great opportunity to be here and so to have a good time with you and have a conversation. For me, I see it as a conversation with the fraternity. I know it's a community of people who are learned and also well-versed in business. So we're going to look at something that means so, which is very much of importance to us, which is business growth. Right. So first of all, I want to thank the leadership for making it possible for us to be here, and also congratulate you on the community impact you've engaged in some years now, and which you have been consistent on purpose. So I would want to congratulate you for the good work you're doing. And then, so we're going to carry on to grow and expand whatever you have. I know some of us here are either running our own businesses or we are playing key roles in organizations. And we all understand the language of growth, but let's see how we can go further, deepen the discussion and see what we can also do to widen the horizon of our impact. Right, thank you very much. So let's go to the next slide, please. Right, so this evening I'm going to be sharing with you on what we have up there. I'm going to be asking 6 questions and try my best to answer these questions. By the time we're done, you should understand what business growth is or add that to what you already know and also learn some new things in that regard. And so I'm going to be asking questions. The first one being, do organizations exist to grow? That's the first question I want to find out if it's true or not. We want to find out what is organizational growth. And what are the drivers of organizational growth? Why do organizations fail? Who is the most important driver? And what about JHS or SHS graduates? Can they fit in? All right, so we're going to try our best to answer these questions in this session that we have this evening. All right, let's go to the next slide. Organizations exist to grow. Yes, so we can see here profiled some organizations from the West. We've seen Walmart. Walmart started its operations in 1960s. On their website, it's profiled 1962, where Sam Walton started with just one store. Right, he built an unshakable foundation, the lowest prices anytime, anywhere. That was the philosophy running the business. And let's see the way forward, 2022. Right. According to the data, it was 1962 that he formally began. And so 2022 makes it, 60 years in business. Now we can see their corporate headquarters. As you can see there, you can see a drone at the car park trying to deliver something to some people that was during the COVID-19. And their corporate headquarters has solar panels and all those cars parked up there with the business they're doing. They started with one store, but today they can recount 11,525 stores globally and 260 million weekly shoppers that come to them. And then we have the operation in 28 countries. The question is what happened between 1960 and then 2022? What happened is what we call growth. Now let's look at our good friend, Amazon. One time he was the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos. And Jeff Bezos started his business, Amazon, in the garage, right? And as at 2022, you can see the Amazon headquarters, right? The headquarters is seated in the US. Total campus square feet is 8.1 million. Number of employees is 40,000. And then the capital investment is $3.7 billion. Right, so this is Amazon for you. What happened? They started on the 5th of July, 1994 in a garage. But today, you look at the headquarters they have here, and which they are also planning to have a second headquarters for the business. Let's go to the next slide. Now, I try to also be a good African, a Pan-Africanist, by finding out what's also happening in Ghana. So Zipe, according to the Ghana Club 100 ratings, was the top company in Ghana at 2022, right? And he started in 1997. Interestingly enough, I couldn't get a picture talking about the formative years of the company. But in 2022, you can see their corporate headquarters and what we can see there, right? And so what really happened from that state, we couldn't have pictures as to how Zipe started, but we can have pictures of how they look in 2022. The question is what happened? And our good friend MTN, the South African company, it's an African brand, so something we can be proud of. Right, 17 March 1993, they started the business. And in 2022, in Ghana, that is the Dubai we have. We call the office also Dubai, just like we're calling the circle Dubai. That is MTN. The question is what really happened between March 17, 1993 and then 2022. This is what we see in Ghana. Right, the next slide, please. The next one is for you. It's a question I have for you. Right, and that question is, when and where did you start? And where are you now? This is a question every entrepreneur must ask himself. When did you start? Where did you start? And the question is, where are you now? Has there been any growth? That's a question I want you to answer, to ask yourself and answer. Has there been any improvement in whatever you're doing? We've seen the story of Walmart. We've seen the story of Amazon. We've also seen the story of MTN and Zipe. So the question is, what about you? Right, where were you some years back and where are you now? Right, have there been some improvements? Have there been some growth? I'll need you to write that in the diary right in front of you, whether that has been achieved or not. Right, let's go to the next slide. Now I need us to understand what we mean by organizational growth. I think you have to click it 3 times here. Right, so what makes an organization grow? Right, everybody starts a company and the mindset is that the thing should grow. Jeff Bezos started, and today, look at what he has. MTN started some years back, and today they're in a lot of African countries, with beautiful headquarters and beautiful offices in the various countries. So the question is, what is organizational growth? And there's a school of thought here. There are 4 main ingredients to grow, and that is people, processes, that is alignment, and focus. However, responsibly growing an organization requires more than just throwing all these ingredients together. You have to address them in the right order, apply the proper amount of attention to each and foster their lasting success. And I want to take more time to look at these critical ingredients that have been stated with regards to organizational growth. The first is people. The kind of people you get into your business is very important. You can have all the money to yourself, You can have all the ideas, but if you get the wrong people in the business, you get somebody who is good in operations, you get that person into HR, you get an HR person into marketing, and you mess things up. You might have the money and have all the structures in place, but the business is going to go bad, right? So the next is also our processes, whether we are driving efficiency in what we're doing, whether it's productivity prone, whether we are effective in what we're doing. These are, key issues when it has to do with organizational growth. And the next is alignment. You have people, I think, let me go to focus before I come to alignment. You have people seeing the need to have their corporate strategy in place. We have a vision, we have a mission, we have our core values, we have our objectives, and we have our strategic goals and all these things stated. You get to offices, you see them beautiful displayed, their vision, mission, everything there. Some of you get good consultants to help you put all these things in place. But the question is, are we focusing our activity or productivity into what is happening? And that brings to bear the balance scorecard, whereby we look at what the business is doing at the moment against what we said we want to do. Are we on track, right? So if we're talking about organizational growth, these are the 4 elements and more that we look at to make sure that we are on point. We are focusing on what we said we want to do. We are in alignment. Our processes are on point. Magnifying efficiency and then effectiveness, and whether we have the right people fitted in the right position, the right appointment letters issued out to the people, the right job descriptions, telling them what they're supposed to do. Right. So when we talk about organizational growth, it's about boxing all these things to make sure the business moves from a seed stage to the startup stage. It moves from the startup stage to the growing stage. It moves from the growth stage to the established stage, and then move from the established stage to the expanding stage, of course. And probably next is to diversify once you want to move into a new market, a new product and all that. So this is what organizational growth is all about, looking at all these 4 components in that regard. Let's go to the next slide. Now, the question is, yes, please click again. My drivers of growth. I've come to understand running corporate trainings. We run the Leaders in Entrepreneurs workshop every quarter, and then we get to meet a couple of corporate leaders and entrepreneurs. And per research and consulting for organizations, I realized there are 3 things that are very important when it comes to my drivers of growth. But I had two people, Robert Ford from LinkedIn, and then Sir Richard Branson also stating something which is in line. My 3 drivers of growth is strategy, people, and money. But looking at Robert Ford said people with the motivation and ability to drive growth. So aside people, he's saying that it should be the people with the right motivation and the ability to drive growth. That means that you can get people working with you, but they don't have the ability to drive growth. I remember talking about a leadership management matrix, whereby if you're a startup or you start an organization, you need a lot of managers than leaders. Once the business is growing, you need more leaders than managers. I don't want to go to the other side, but that is one thing that we need to understand when it comes to people with the right motivation, right? So Robert also mentioned a strategy that prioritizes growth. It also falls in place with the strategy up there. And then processes and infrastructure are required to facilitate growth and enough funding to make the above possible. That comes back to money. Right. Let's see. Sir Richard Branson has found a group of 400 companies in his group. And this is what you also mentioned when it comes to the drivers of growth. He said planning for the long term. That falls on the strategy. Sticking to your founding principles, which is some way of the balance scorecard. Yeah. And then gather a great team, which talks about people and getting the right support. We also comes to money. So looking at these 2 schools of thought, there are lots of them we can consider, but because of the time, we want to look at these things, and you could see it falls under the 3. And strategy is very important. The kind of mind that runs your business, the kind of philosophy that runs your business is what will cause the business to grow. Right. The next is people. What kind of people are in your organization? Are there people with mere interest or people with passion about where the business is going? Every organization must have a direction. That's taking it back to strategy. What is the direction of your organization? Where are we going? What is the vision? What is the mission? Are we really on course? Are we getting the right people to fill in the right roles? What is the content of our organogram? What are the kind of people we think fit into our value chain to work things out? There are people who get the wrong people, who come out with the wrong departments and get the wrong people in there expecting the business to grow. But once you've defined the wrong departments and gotten the wrong people in place, of course, the business cannot move on. right? We'll be moving in cycles, thinking we are moving. We'll be doing 8 to 5, thinking we are gliding and doing better, but you realize that we are suffering in the long run. That's the people. And the money, you can have the right people, have the right strategy, but the money is not there. The business cannot move from one level to the other, because the money is very important. The financial investment into the business is very important. When you look at Uber and some of these companies that have just stemmed up all quickly, they have people who are pushing money, investing money into the business to make sure it grows. So these are the 3 drivers. If your organization must grow, your strategy must be on point. You need to have the right people in the business, not just the right people. They should be motivated enough. They should be well trained to get the business moving. Let's go to the next slide. Now, so the question also comes down clear, why some organizations fail, right? The first is neglecting operations strategy, right? Failing to take advantage of the strengths and opportunities, which is very important. Let me just go through. The slides are going to be with you to look into it more. The next is neglecting investment in capital and human resource. And I want to talk more about this. You get people, recruiting people into the organization to get in, even the onboarding process. Last 3 months, we were having a session on design thinking, change management, and resilience. And we hosted the group HR for GB Foods. And they were talking about how they onboard their staff. When a new person is coming, how they take time. It takes even as long as 6 months to onboard a new person into the organization. And when you look at the situation as it stands now, most of us don't really spend time to onboard the people into the organization. And when they come in, probably the corporate strategy, we don't take time to help them understand the direction of the organization, where the business is going. So they don't know their feet. I was talking to one lady in one organization who told me, I asked her one simple question. Are you happy where you're working, or do you have any problem? He said, yes, my problem is I don't know why I am hired in the organization. I'm just being told to do this. I'm just being told to do that. My appointment letter has not even been given to me for me to know, the role which I'm specifically supposed to do. So this is one area where we get people failing. So we get people telling me they are working in this organization, doing 8 to 5, but they are not, being focused on what they're supposed to do. So this comes on the side of CEOs, right? Some people don't have the HR training and all that. So they try to get the business moving. Let's just get people in. Once it is the end of the month, we pay them something, but it gets to a time whereby that does not work. They need to know why they are being hired into the organization, what you want them to do, and their targets and all that to get it right. The next is the failing to consider the customer's needs. Customers have a lot of needs. And if, in marketing, if you don't come about your product based on the needs of the customers, then what are you doing? Because it's the customers who determine the taste of the game. So if you don't get to understand the needs of the customers, there's a problem. You don't understand feedback, and for the fact that your customers are those who tell you how well you are doing or not. If you discount that, your business will have problems. So these are reasons why some organizations fail. Once your customers' needs are not met, you should know that your bottom line is shaky, and there's a problem with your organization, right? Placing too much emphasis on product and service design and not enough on process design and improvement. So these are some of the reasons and more why organizations fail and why they don't grow. Let's go to the next slide. Now, this is a question for you, and I think you can unmute and tell me how true this is. Can you click it again? Yeah. Can you click the slide again? Yes. Who is the most important driver? Is it strategy, having a good vision, mission, core values, objective, strategic goals, financial and non-financial? Is it people, or is it money? So can you unmute yourself in a matter of 3 minutes? Let me hear from you. Who do you think is the most important driver?
People.
Okay. People. Your name, please.
People. Grace. I'm Grace.
Grace. Okay. You said people, right? Grace goes for
Yes.
people. Yes. Who again? I'm listening.
Lana goes for strategy.
Dana goes for strategy. Okay. I'm listening. Someone says all three. RP Francis, all three. We need one that is most important. And you're saying all three. We need just one. So tell us one. The most important. People. Yes, Ashraf says people. Yep. People is leading. Yep. We have a minute more. Who is the most important driver? strategy?
Well, I believe it's people, they develop the strategy, they generate the money.
Good.
Strategy,
The people. Yes, sir.
strategic doesn't come out of its own will, and money
Okay.
doesn't just grow on trees. It's the
Okay.
people who develop, makes the systems work so that the strategy is there, the money comes and so forth. So it's the people.
Okay. So we're all going for people. I'm seeing the chats. A lot of people are going for people. Yes, RP Francis people, PP Augustus, PN Dorothy, people. We have a lot of designations here, PN, RP, PP, and all that. Well, it's good to learn from this community. So you see, everybody's good, and I will go for people, right? And I love the answer the gentleman just gave. That is the people who come up with the strategy, and it's the same people. Micah also said people. It's the same people who will help you get that money that you want and all that. So you see, people is very important. And I want to take my time and talk about people. And that people is that person called you, because you are the one contributing to the success of the organization, rolling out productivity structures to make sure the organization grows. Let's go to the next slide. Now, are there are a crop of people that I really want us to pay attention to. You know, in recruiting, we recruit for a couple of organizations, and you know the bottom line of the people that we look out for. We look out for people with first degree, or people with HND, or people with their masters. So now the question is, are they? Please click the link again. Please click the slide again. Yeah. What about the GHS and SHS graduates? Are we fair to these guys? Is it their fault? Now, the statement that says, are they exempted from the entry-level and experienced professionals with HND or first degree and beyond who are shortlisted by hiring managers? Are these GHS and SHS graduates exempted? Right. I remember, talking about the integrated online learning program when it was launched, and we had one gentleman who called in to take up some courses. With him, he is an SHS graduate, and then he's been running his business, and I think it's working. And he's recruited a lot of first degree holders who are working with him. But the question is that, what about these GHS and SHS graduates? It's not fault of theirs, you know, after school, there's no money to continue. So after GHS, somebody is riding an Okada, a bike, and trying to do deliveries and carrying people around. Someone gets finished SHS, there's no money to continue to get to the university. That doesn't mean that this person cannot have, access to a better life. Is it the fact that we relegate them to be salespeople for organizations? Some of them will be cooks. Some of them will end up being waiters and waitresses in organizations. Can we really have, a use for these people? Do they really have strength? Something that is a core competence that it can help organizations to grow? Because they are startups at the other end looking for people to run businesses with, because they cannot afford paying the graduates. They earn, there's a return of 3,000 Ghana cedi or 5,000 Ghana cedi. And how much is the CEO taking? And they recruit somebody with a first degree, probably with 2 years experience. And that person wants to take 2,000 Ghana cedi. If they are 4,000 Ghana cedi is gone. Which money do we use to run the business? They are a crop of young people called GHS and SHS graduates who have something that we can take a look at and help them. Let's get to the next slide. Yes, so what we need to do with these people, there are a lot of them in the system. I don't want to come up with the statistics. There are a lot of SHS graduates and GHS graduates who have started their own businesses on the side. Some of them who are not doing anything, right? What we need to do with these people is that we need to identify their strength. Everybody has a strength. And one of the young men I want to talk about is Black Sharif. This young man is an SHS graduate, but he has a strength of singing. And we saw him, Artist of the Year, VGMA Artist of the Year, he got it. But we focus on people's strength and, help them build a career around it. We create, we give them, we teach them how to fish for a lifetime. It is said that don't give me a fish because I'll eat and not have it another day. But if you teach me how to fish, I have fish for life. So we need to also train them in competency areas. We need to take a look at these people, in senior high schools, who are graduates from the senior high or from the junior high schools, and see how we could also improve their competency so that they can also be of value to organizations. In a way, we're also dealing with unemployment issue, in our country. We are also, helping them, move out of all forms of social vices and all that. And we also need to attach them to organizations to firm up their practice. So it's not just about identifying their strength, not about just training them, but also, getting them to organizations so they can firm up their practice. So instead of sitting home and thinking about something else, they can find themselves doing something for themselves. And that is one thing that we do at the Integrated Online Learning Program or the IELP Institute. Now, there's one situation here that I want us to understand. We need to present these graduates to these competent graduates to companies at the seed and startup stage to grow to the established stage. Now, when companies start, at the seed and startup stage, they don't have that money to pay people so skilled. So you get people going for JHS and SHS graduates. And these people, need to be proficient in Microsoft. They need to know how to use the Microsoft Excel and all these things so that when you get them in the organization, they can bring value to you. But do not just waste your time and you pay money and not see value for whatever you're doing. I had one client who got back to me and told me he had a problem. He told me when he traveled, he realized that the people couldn't stand in to run the business. And I asked him, what is the educational level of these people? He said they are all SHS graduates. And so getting an SHS graduate at the leadership level becomes a big problem. But if we spend time with these people and help them understand the world of work, help them understand work ethics, help them to become professionals, then when they join a startup organization, they can easily help the organizations to grow. We say of a fact that the private sector is the engine of growth. And if the private sector is an engine of growth, it must grow, it needs people. And it needs people that the organization can afford. Because if we have people that we can't afford, it becomes a big problem. But if you get these guys who understand these fundamental basics and can do their best, we are good to go. With the advent of digital marketing and social media management, we have a lot of areas that these people can move into, learn digital marketing and manage the social media pages for a lot of organizations. Most companies are not so active on their LinkedIn pages, on their Facebook pages, on their Instagram pages, because, hiring these people together is quite expensive. So you either get a marketing manager doubling to do that. But getting these SHS people, giving them the right training in a particular field, they'll help the organization to move from the startup stage to the growth stage. Let's move to the next slide, please. Right, there is, can you click it again? There's one thing that we all need to understand for Africa and Ghana. We stand a better chance because taking a look at Africa has over 60% of its population being youthful, right? And then looking at unemployment issues to 1.76 million persons were unemployed in the third quarter of 2022, just some few months ago. A lot of the young ones are there who are unemployed. And a chunk of them are JHS graduates and SHS graduates who we can spend some time with, give them a skill in a competency area. The next moment, they're being of help to an organization, they're helping the organization grow, and they are playing a pivotal role, which they can afford to help them move from that stage to a growth stage, right? The World Health Organization has warned that many young Africans are turning into substance abuse. The UN predicts that by 2030, the number of drug users in Africa will have increased substantially. And this is a critical issue, right? I stand as the president of the Coalition of NGOs on Drug Abuse. And last year, around May, we were in Tamale. And then our job was to visit the ghettos and see the situation there. And then we met a young girl at the age of, she came to the ghetto at the age of 12. That morning, she was holding 2 weeds, smoking left and right. That was her situation. And we asked the question, why? It's like there are no jobs. And so once they gather there, the weed is what gets them active and all that. And I don't want to talk about, but I still have to mention it. Looking at the school like Kumbungu Senior High in the northern region, the headmistress was practically begging us because the young ones, you meet a boy coming to school early in the morning, very daisy, and you go into his pockets, there are cannabis, there's weed in his pocket. Some students stay out of school just to smoke shisha. And all that. These young ones are there after school. They are just going into this vice more and more. And if we don't teach them and help them, give them a skill, it will be a big problem. And these organizations that we have at the C stage cannot help out, right? You can see the picture we have here. You can see the young lady smoking shisha. And I understand that we have more girls smoking in Ghana than the boys. That's the current situation. There's a statistic to back that, I might provide that later. But this is what is happening. You see them, they smoke, they go high, and what do? They go robbing people. You have, spent much money, develop yourself, and look at what happens. right? But just look at the picture up there. You can see Black Sharif. Black Sharif, you know, this young man had a strength, and then it was worked on, and you know, he became the artist of the year. So there's one thing we have to do to these young ones to really get them into the world of work, to make them relevant and sit home, watch telenovelas, and I mean, go online trying to do people, I mean, trying to call people through this. You can see this Momo fraud that you see all around. They are all young people that call in, you know, to make sure they can get some money to survive. And so if we really stand to help them, they can survive and they can have a meaningful life for themselves. So what we have to do is to keep the youth from the ghettos. A lot of them are in the ghettos. I can tell you for a fact, I can give you the numbers. We've been to a lot of places. I remember we are having a program in Mim, that's Sunyani, and I was reliably informed that Mim in Sunyani is where we have a lot of the weed farms that are there. And a lot of the young guys are smoking their future out. Right, let us prevent teenage pregnancy by keeping our boys and our girls busy with what productive work. Once, you know, I mean, he says the devil finds work for an idle hands. And so once you're idle and nothing happens, you know, they find out, I mean, impregnating our young girls and giving them responsibility called children, who they have to take care of them and take care of themselves also. Right, let us keep our boys away from crime and prison by using their strength to grow businesses, because these young ones have strength that we need to really, I mean, work on these strengths and use them to grow our businesses. When you look around now, when you drive around Chesano from around the Achimoto overhead towards the Peace FM, you will see sometimes they bring the prisoners who come and do what? That hard work. Why do we wait for these people go through crime and become prisoners and let them do the hard work? Why don't you rather spend time really develop these young guys in skills that are needed in the 21st century, and then these guys can start working on their own, contributing to an organization productivity and the earnings that can help them survive, right? So I would like to end by the next slide by saying that good, better, best, like we know, may I never rest until my good is better and my better best. The organization can grow, and it can grow if you have the right people in the organizations. One thing we need to pay attention to is to learn to invest into them, to train them, and also not just that, let's not neglect those people who are JHS graduates, who are SHS graduates. Let's see how best we can help these young ones get into the world of work and also make an impact in there, and also help them not just to survive, but to have a meaningful life for themselves. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you, and God bless you.
Wow, this is a lot. There's a lot. I see people clapping. CP David is clapping. CP David, perhaps let me give you what do you think? Share your initial thoughts on this before we take any questions, please.
Thank you, RP Andrew. It has been a very wonderful presentation. I keep smiling and nodding. I mean, and it's teasing a little, especially those of us who have started something small. I think the idea of we always want to go for the already cooked one, those who have the know-how. I think we should look at these young ones who didn't get a chance to also move on. Maybe find a way to help them to also fit in, and at least, who knows, they might even be talented than those we think are really experienced. I think it was a wonderful presentation. A double thumbs up for you, Gabriel.
Thank you very much. I add my voice to that of yours, CP David. Fellow Rotarians would want to take some 3 questions. If there are 3 questions or comments, kindly show my hand. As expected, President Edwin's microphone is already muted.
Right.
President Edwin, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Gabriel, for the presentation. Yeah.
Go ahead,
I think you spoke a lot about the SHS and JHS people. I think the bottom line is that what sort of work do we want done? And then when we have defined the work that has to be done, then we look for the qualifications of the people who will have to do the work. But I'm getting the impression that right at the beginning, from the beginning, we are saying that the JHS and the SHS people are not qualified for anything, if I understood you well, and that we need to be them. But let us define the work that has to be done, and then from there work out, who are the people we need to get the job done. I have this thing about it's not the qualification you have which is important. It's what you do with what qualification that you have. To me, that is
Okay.
what is most important, you know. So yes, you know, so let us, what is it? JHS, they are here with us. Is there any job that they can do in the system? Of course, when they get into the job, then they build themselves, they can also build themselves up to achieve whatever things are there. So this is just my small comment I want to make about that aspect. And then the other thing, I mean, from my experience, and maybe mine is mostly with the public sector, a bit with the private sector. You find out that I come across people who expect their organizations to build their capacity. I know in the private sector, putting money into training is one of those things where the private sector doesn't do much. I think that's something that we should commend the public sector for, you know. So, but people by themselves, these days there are so many of these online programs and so forth, which are there to build their capacities. So maybe we should be encouraging people to look at themselves. I'm here today. How do I get to the next stage in my organization? What do I have to do? If my organization is not helping me, is there anything that I can do by myself to build myself? Because I tell people, I mean, the knowledge you acquire in your head, nobody can take it away from you. You can be sacked from company A, where you acquire some knowledge. But when they sack you, they don't take away that knowledge that you have put into your head. So that knowledge becomes useful in another forum. So let's also try as individuals by ourselves. What is it that we can do to better ourselves? When I do training for people, I always leave them with sometimes I'm not too sure that they are 3 words, but now you need to become triple. Learn, learn, learn. I'm not sure that it's 1 word or 3 words, but to me there are 3 words: learn, learn, learn. The other ones are read, read, read. With all due apologies, a lot of our young ones, this is reading. It's not the set of things that they are interested in. And then a third thing that, well, which basically relates to both two is that build your capacity, build your capacity, build your capacity. I think if we encourage our young ones especially to have these things at the back of their minds, we'll be getting somewhere. So yes, SHS, JHS, they can be used. Identify where they can go, and let's help them build them. And at the end of the day, let them also, you know, let people also build themselves up. I've seen somebody here saying, rightly said, professional and personal development should be taken up by individuals, be sponsored by their companies or not. So let's look at ourselves. What can we do? And I think if we do that, we'll be able to do that. But Jamin, I'm happy with the presentation you have. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you very much, Return Edwin. Before our speaker comes in, we want to take 2 more questions. Return Justice, kindly unmute yourself and let us know your questions. Return Justice, your hand is up. Please proceed.
It's not a question, it has to do with the issue.
Kindly come again, please. Return Justice. Okay. Return Justice, I'm not sure we can hear you. Your network is a bit sketchy. If you could reposition yourself and let us know your question is, or perhaps you might want to put it in the chat box so we can take it. We'll be most grateful. In the absence of that, I believe that will be the final question. We'll hand over the floor for our speaker to give us his a response to the comment and his final remarks, please, before we take the vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Edwin Barnes, for your view on the situation on ground. And with regards to these graduates, I want to share an experience of what we did at the IELP program, what we are doing. Before you even come into the session, we sit with you and have a career talk with you to want to find out why you want to take a career path, why you want to take a course in this particular field and all that. So there was this young guy, it was not working. So he came in and he had an interest on, doing something nursing. So he took a course in nursing. And after that, by way of the protocols, we have to, what we do also is that after learning at our center, we also attach it to an organization to firm up the practicalities of what you're doing. And we did that. And he started his internship for 3 months. Right after these 3 months, the CEO called me back and told me, hey, I like this guy. I want him to be close to me. I want him to be, even be like an executive assistant to me because I've seen his value. And so more of these young people, these GHS, SHS, they have a lot of value. But once you get them the right environment, they couldn't make it up to the university. That doesn't mean that life has ended. But we can look at them, find out their interest, and help them develop themselves. And that is Sakama program is integrated online learning program, right? It is, if you want to sit home and learn on your own, you might not be able to do it. But when we have a center where you come in there, we help you understand your career path. We try to find out what your strengths are and see how we can help you. You take up a course and all that. And after they are certified, then they get to the local market, they get themselves acquainted with what is happening in the world of work. And instead of sitting home the next 3, 6, 9 months, they find themselves working somewhere and need something to take care of themselves. So I know these people, once we have started, once we spend time with them, help them understand what they're supposed to do, and create an environment, an ecosystem, a learning center where they can learn and get guidance. They can be great use to a couple of organizations. Let me share one with you. There's this gentleman who was taking a course with NIT, and he came to do an internship with us, but there were a lot of things he doesn't know. And we had to teach him and try and help him understand, working professionally, being on time and all these things. So, there's work we can do and we can help a lot of them. Instead of them sitting, joining groups, robbing people on highway and all these things, we can, get their skill, their strength, and turn it over, help them to become competent and they can be of value. These people. One area which we also look at are people who are already working, but they didn't have certifications for what they are doing. There's somebody working as a plumber, somebody working as a mason. I received a call from the UK just before the session. A gentleman, joined from the, his family is here in Ghana, a gentleman, in the UK, in Ghana, sorry. And there's no certification for block laying that he has, brick laying. And there's no something formal to that effect. And so we also provide a platform for people like that so that they can also have value for whatever they're doing, right? So, in summary, I can say that let's make the impact. Let's help these young ones. And let's make our institutions grow, right, on all fronts. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Gabriel Akpalu, would want to invite Return Bella from the Rotary Club of Akosumbo Dam City to give us a vote of thanks, please. Return Bella. Return Bella, are you on call?
Hello. Yes, RP.
Okay, please proceed. The vote of thanks.
The Rotrates, fellow Rotarians, and my dear guests. It's a delight and an honor to be called upon to give the vote of thanks. Firstly, I like to thank God Almighty for the opportunity given to us to see this new month in good health. Secondly, my appreciation goes to Mr. Gabriel Akpalu for the in-depth education and knowledge shared. I hope when we call upon you again, you will honor our invitation because we are Oliver Twist, will ask for more. Thirdly, I would like to thank our guests for honoring our invitation and contributing to the success of today's meeting. And finally, my dear Rotarians, I'm grateful for the diverse roles you played to enable us have a great meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We most appreciative, Return Bella, for giving us the vote of thanks. Also to add that we'll be giving the 4-week test, the frame 4-week test of the 4-week to our guests. And we want to ask our guests that everything that you told us, is it the truth? Mr. Gabriel, everything that you told us, is it the truth?
Yes, it's the truth.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Very fair to everybody.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Very, to build better friendships.
And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Yes, very beneficial to us in the long run, to the businesses that we're building. To really be beneficial to grow those businesses and make them become conglomerates, and not just a one-man business when you die and that's all. It stays, it outlives you as a human being and bless our wealth.
Thank you very much. So we'll be sharing the frame and the certificate with you in due course. Fellow Rotarians, we want to say a very big thank you for joining our meeting.